Welcome to the September 2025 monthly meeting of the Miami Condo Investing Club. This is a virtual meeting that is broadcast live at noon South Florida time on the second Wednesday of every month. A recording of the monthly meeting will be available for on-demand viewing at Miami Condo Club. This 75-minute podcast, which features a questions and answer session, is hosted by Peter Zalewski, a condo consultant and the founder of the Miami Condo Investing Club. The purpose of the monthly meetings is to share real-time, actionable information about the South Florida condo market with club members. If you are not yet a member of the club, we would encourage you to consider joining at Miami Condo Club. The club's mission is to foster a community that shares real-time, actionable intelligence on the latest real estate trends, emerging opportunities, and trusted service providers throughout South Florida. Whether you're a do-it-yourself DIY condo buyer or a seasoned real estate professional, the club provides invaluable resources, including up-to-date statistics, expert analysis, and access to tailored consulting services. An added benefit of the club is that members receive discounts on all Miami condo correction, walking, and bus tours. Please visit miamicondoclub.eventbrite.com for a schedule of upcoming tours. Welcome to the September 2025 monthly meeting.
Welcome to the September 2025 monthly meeting of the Miami Condo Investing Club. We're going to be talking about a whole variety of topics today, giving you an update about what's going on in the South Florida condo market, as well as what's going on a macro level. So it should be fun, it should be interesting, and I'll definitely give you something to think about. I'm Peter Zalewski. I'm the founder of the Miami Condo Investing Club. I'm also a condo consultant. Got to South Florida in 1993, originally from Chicago, and did journalism for about 13 years. After that, I set up a buy-side brokerage called Condo Vultures Realty, and basically had a good run along the way during the Great Recession. After the Great Recession, got into tracking pre-construction condo towers with a brand called Crane Spotters. And here I am now. I have a club, Miami Condo Investing Club. Once a month, we do these monthly meetings, and we always do them on the second Wednesday of every month. We do them from noon till about 1:15. From 12 to 1 o'clock, I will be talking about what basically we discovered over the course of the last month doing in terms of doing our research. We will convey it to you. We'll give you some ideas. We'll give you some talking points. We're going to give you plenty of data. We'll give you access to plenty of data. I should point out to you, if you go to our website, miamicondo.club, and if you run into a paywall, that means you have simply not logged in. The paywall, what it separates is those people who are simply reading some of the information we put out and those who are able to consume some of the data, some of the research that we make available. If you're on this meeting, that means you are a paid member of the Miami Condo Investing Club. I would point out to you, tidbit, going into November, we are going to be raising the prices. So if you are a subscriber, continue to please pay as you go, and therefore you're going to be locked in at the same price. If you're thinking about looking at a discount, I'd encourage you to maybe sign up for the 1-year prepayment subscription. You're going to save somewhere in the vicinity of, what would it be? Somewhere about 20% or so. So that being said, let me go ahead and give you the rules of engagement, what we're doing over the course of the next hour or so. And I recognize that people, their time is very valuable, and I respect your time. Therefore, I want to alert you that I'll be talking for about an hour. If you need to leave, rest assured by Friday, probably sooner, by Friday, we'll be going ahead and making available a recording of this this broadcast, if you will. And also, too, if you want to go back and look at some of the previous broadcasts we do, feel free to check it out whenever you want. Our archives are extensive. We've posted somewhere in the vicinity of 500 pieces or so since we launched this club back in February of 2024. The idea is to give you real-time information, not necessarily give you rosy scenario, which is what you're going to find from a lot of industry organizations. We're more so we're going to drill down on the information. We're going to tell you what we see going on. We're going to give you indicators. A lot of times we're ahead of the curve. We tend to see things before others do, and as a result, it could give you a first mover advantage. So over the course of the next hour, I will hit on a whole variety of topics. You see I'm sharing my screen. I have an agenda, which I will get to shortly. Kind of lay out some of the things we'll be looking at. What are some of them we're going to be looking at? Well, Liberation Day. Liberation Day was that day on April 2nd, 2025. President Trump announced a whole new strategy for the United States, moving us from free trade globalization with tariffs roughly below 4% to suddenly a a policy where we're a little bit more protective. And if you want to sell product in the United States, if you're coming from overseas, there's going to be a tariff involved with it. So tariffs went from 4%, less than 4% on average, according to Morgan Stanley, up to over 17%. We're starting to see the repercussions of that in a whole variety of ways, whether it's inflation and or job growth. I'm going to get into some of that. I'll get into some of those details. But the one takeaway from this Liberation Day in terms of doing our study, we took a look to see what were condo prices before Liberation Day and what are condo prices since Liberation Day. And what we found is that prices on average are trading for condos across the board, all condos, about 10% less on a price per door basis and about 7% less on a price per square foot basis. That's one topic we're going to get into. We're also going to get into our index, our Miami Condo Cliff Index. We launched it on January the 1st of this year, 2025, in unison with what we called back in June of 2024 would be the 2025 Florida Condo Association Financial Cliff. It's playing out across the board. You are seeing condo terminations. You're seeing people who are running into some problems. They're trying to dump their condos. They're trying to get out. They can't afford the special assessments. All of this came because of the Surfside condo collapse in June of 2021, where nearly 100 people died and a $1 billion settlement was paid out to the families of the victims. So we're going to go in and we're going to look at our index. We're going to tell you which markets are doing well and which markets are struggling. Based on our index, we're using active listings. We're using pending sales. We're running it through our formula, and we're basically giving it a rate. Every single Tuesday, we update our Condo Cliff Index. We look at South Florida overall. We look at Miami-Dade County. We look at Broward. We look at Palm Beach County. And then we break it down into 19 additional markets, going from Coconut Grove and Coral Gables all the way north up to West Palm Beach, downtown West Palm Beach, as well as Palm Beach Island, which is where Mar-a-Lago is doing. So Mar-a-Lago, by the way, is where the club, as well as the residence of Donald Trump, is located. So we're looking at all of that coastal condo market, primarily east of Interstate 95. We do have some exceptions because of Coconut Grove and Coral Gables. Other than that, everything is going to be east of 95. So we're going to tell you which markets are doing well, which markets are struggling. And what does that mean for you? Well, if the market is strong, that means if you're a listing agent, this might be a market in which you can be very firm in terms of what you're asking. And if the market is weak, this is probably a market where if you are a listing agent, you probably want to be kind of aggressive and bold if you want to actually get out of the unit, if you want to have your seller be able to sell. Now, if you are a buyer looking at the index and the way it's tracking, you want to focus on those markets that are weak. Why? Because you're probably going to have more negotiating power. And then conversely, if you look at a strong market, you're probably not going to have the same negotiating power. So that's how you kind of use this index. And we're going to get into it. We'll tell you not only overall condos, we're also going to tell you the vintage condos. Remember, vintage condos are 30 years or older. These are the ones that are really coming under great scrutiny as a result of legislation passed following the Surfside condo collapse. So that'll be an interesting tidbit. We'll also give you some overall perspective about what's going on with financial indicators. We like to look at everything from interest rates to how the stock markets are doing. We also look at CPI, Consumer Price Index, which, by the way, is coming out tomorrow. It'll be released tomorrow morning. There was a precursor that came out today called a PPI, which is a Producer Price Index, basically a wholesale index about inflation. So we're going to get into all of that, and we'll tell you what this could mean. And one thing you're hearing right now, I would tell you, is we're hearing that potentially next week when the Federal Open Markets Committee, this is the body that basically votes to whether or not the Federal Reserve, which is the central bank of the United States, whether or not they should cut the rates or they should increase the rates. And as we all know, as interest rates go up, housing activity slows. As interest rates come down, housing activity grows. So that's kind of what we're up against. Coming into this week, there was talk of 25 to 50 basis points. 100 basis points represents a percentage point on the interest rate. There was talk about maybe a 25 basis point cut. Now, some are saying, based on today's numbers, we could see a 75 basis point cut effectively a week from now. So why is that important? Well, because ultimately it's going to impact mortgage rates. So we're going to get in all of that. Also, too, I will give you an outlook. I'll lay it out where we stand here in October. We're almost 3/4 of the way through the summer buying season, which goes from May through September of every year. This tends to be the time when deals close. The winter time, which goes from November through April, that's the time where everybody's coming down here. They're kicking the tires. The weather's great. There's no hurricane warnings, none of that type of stuff. They're going to parties. They're going to events. They're getting a feel for the area. and then they tend to close in the summer buying season. Why? Because the purchasing process, I don't know, call it 6 months or so, even once you go under contract, you're looking at another 30 to 90 days, 30 to 60 days to close. So that's kind of the way it plays out. So you shop in the winter and you close in the summer. So there's some good indicators, there's some good trends. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll also talk about whether or not you need to change your base case scenario. What scenario? What is your outlook going forward? Because we have interest rates possibly being cut. We have sales prices coming down, and we also have growing inventory. So we have a whole variety of cross currents that are out there in the marketplace right now, and we want to try to give you some real-time micro perspective about what's going on in the South Florida area of Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach counties. So again, I'm going to talk till roughly about 1 o'clock, and then I will answer questions if you have any from 1 to 1:15. So thank you for being here on the at the meeting. And again, if you need to leave early or whatever the case may be, don't worry. On Friday or by Friday, probably today, depending on how the technology works, by Friday, you'll see a recorded copy of this. Now, if you happen to be seeing this video and you're not a member of the club, I'd encourage you to do so. If you're watching the video and you only get to the 20-minute mark and then suddenly it stops and there's a paywall, that simply means you need to join the club. So I'd encourage you to do so. And again, our price is going to be going up in November. So if you are thinking about it, I would encourage you to sort of check it out right now. So that being said, let's go ahead and get to our agenda. I am going to scroll down my screen. I'm sharing with you, and we're going to show you. So there you can see my beautiful mug, Peter Zalewski, founder of Miami Condo Investing Club. Again, former journalist, a buy-side broker. I've been licensed since 1995. I don't really practice very often unless it is related to institutional type of deals, bigger deals, if you will. But I do have a partner. Her name is Jenny Huertas. She's a broker owner of a company called CVR Realty. You can check her out at cvrrealty.com. She's the one I send any and all inquiries to me about trying to work on things. And we kind of work in unison. I give her the macro and she handles the micro. She's kind of heels on the ground, if you will. So let me scroll down. I'm sharing my screen with you. You're going to see that we have our condo correction tours. These are tours that we're doing every Saturday. I'll get into more details about that just momentarily. But let me continue onward. We got a nice little plug for the club, as you can see, established in 2024. The idea is to bring together people who are focused on condos. A lot of the clubs that are out there, they're all focused on single-family houses, or maybe they're fix and flips. Not a lot of people understand what's going on in the condo market. Fortunately, this is something I love. Fortunately, this is something I study. Fortunately, this is something I've simply been around. Sometimes just showing up and being there will give you a lot of benefits, and that's kind of in the position we are in. But instead of going up and down in what the screen I'm sharing, why don't we just go point by point as we do it? So I'm going to get to the agenda, but let's start off with our preferred service providers. You might be a DIYer. You might be somebody who wants to do it on your own. You don't want to use a broker. You're taking advantage of a year ago, a little bit over a year ago, there was an antitrust settlement. There's a compromise reached between the realtor associations and plaintiffs. Now it's a little clearer in terms of how you work with real estate professionals. These are going to be the brokers, either on the buy side or on the sell side. So inevitably, a lot of people are going it alone now. And if you are going it alone, some of the issues you might run into, especially if you're new to market, is simply, who are my professional service people that can help me out? How do I get this worked out? How do I get that worked out? You're a little bit unclear. So we're going to tell you some of our preferred service providers. These are groups and organizations that might provide some services that you might want, and the groups that we basically are recommending. We're vouching for. We're saying they're good. We've known them. We know all about them, and maybe put them on your list as you're going around shopping around for services. By no means should you only go at one company. You should check it out. You should go around, and you should figure out what's going to be the best fit for you based on price, based on experience, and based also too on personal relationship. Personal relationship's an important thing. If you don't get along with the person, it's probably going to be a little bit harder to kind of make the deal work. So let's start off with the escrow, title, anything related to that third party type of entity that's necessary in order to do a deal. Because remember, if you go under contract with a unit, you want to buy a unit. Money's got to be placed somewhere, and neither party necessarily trusts the other, and therefore you go to a third party, you put the cash there. Third party handles all the closings. They collect all the paperwork. They do all that type of stuff. So the group we work with is called Candor Title and Closing. It's run by a woman called Clarita Rosa. So if you are looking for title, escrow, any of those services, I'd encourage you to check out Candor Title and Closing. Continuing on, we have Miami 21 Zoning and Entitlements. Miami 21 Zoning and Entitlements can help you if you get hit with a red tag. Maybe you're doing some work, you don't want to pay for a permit, you got caught by the inspectors. Now they're saying stop, cease and desist, all work. You need to get this resolved. Or maybe you bought a house or you bought a property and you think, maybe I want to put an addition on. Or maybe you own a house and you want to get rid of it and you want to try to sell for maximum price. And that, we all know maximum price is based on what can I build? What can I replace my existing with in terms of going forward? And that's where your value comes from. So I'd encourage you to check out Miami 21 Zoning Entitlements and Christine Carey. If you simply click on the link, you'll be able to check it out. And by the way, I sent everybody a link to this report. I will also put it in the show notes. So if anybody wants to check it out, simply click on it. You go down, everything is sort of encapsulated. Continuing on, construction. Some of you might be looking for a contractor. You want to do some work. You need somebody who's reliable, someone who's going to show up, someone who will actually do what they say they're going to do. And a group we work with is called 3A Quality Services Construction Remodeling. A gentleman named Andres Alvarez Murcia. Andres shows up, does the work, and get things done. So if you are looking for a contractor, I'd encourage you to put Andres and 3A Quality Services on your list. Continuing on, Global Inventory Liquidators. A gentleman called Jose Suarez runs this group. What they basically do is when restaurants are shutting down, when a line, because of the timing of the year, is getting taken out and getting replaced by something brand new, patio furniture, let's say. You're going into winter, maybe up north, and people don't necessarily need it. So what the retailer will do is they will simply dump it off. They'll discount it. They'll get it out because they have to replace it with new product that's more timely for the particular season. So what Jose Suarez of Global Inventory Liquidators does is goes in there and buys the product. He typically buys it for pennies on the dollar. He will put a spread on it, and he'll sell it to you below retail price, but yet it's still making it worthwhile for him to play the game. So that's Global Inventory Liquidators, Jose Suarez. Continuing on, maybe some of you doing construction, maybe some of you, you need materials, you need somebody to lay tile for you, you want to make upgrades, granite, stuff like that. Steven Mussolino, Casa Linda Tile and Marble. He's located over in Durrell. Company's been around since 1970. His father set up the company back in 1970. They're still operating. They import product, they bring in product, and they can supply a lot of the needs you might have. And, if you go there, drop the Miami Condo Investing Club, drop Peter Zalewski, and you should be treated like family. And then finally, lending. Some of you are out there, you're looking for a loan, you're going to maybe a bank, you're going to a credit union, you're going to private money, whatever the case may be. Well, understand there are different options. There's also options that include maybe private money that's family offices and or families that understand this and simply want to put some money out in the street. They're able to work with very creative situations, and I'd encourage you to maybe consider Grant Stern. Grant Stern's got a company called Morningside Mortgage Corporation. He's a broker, so he has access to all the traditional money, which you would get from a traditional FDIC bank, as well as private money, as well as he can play between both sides, the conventional side as well as the private money side. And anybody who's wondering what is hard money versus private money, it all can be one and the same. What makes it hard is simply the terms that are involved in their criteria. But if you're looking for anything related to a mortgage in the South Florida area for a condo, maybe it's got a lot of hair and warts on it. Maybe you're getting rejected by others. Maybe consider reaching out to Grant Stern. He might be able to help you out. And if he can't, he can probably point you in the right direction as to who can. Now let's continue onward. As mentioned, our monthly meetings, we do them on the second Wednesday of every month. We do them from 12 to 1 o'clock, and then we do a Q&A from 1 o'clock to 1:15. This would be the September 10th meeting. This is the fifth out of six monthly meetings for the summer buying season, which again goes from May through October before we get into winter. So we're wrapping down summer. We're near the end of summer, and next month we'll be coming out with our winter buying season schedule for monthly meetings. But we really like this 12 to 1:15 on the second Wednesday of every month to give somebody, it gives people something to count on, something they can plan on. It's consistent. So don't expect any changes there. Continuing onward, we also have our meetups. Most of the stuff we do is you're going to be able to participate. If you are a club member, you're going to participate primarily online, or it'll be virtual, including this monthly meeting, which is virtual. You're all able to tap into it. You're all able to watch it. But sometimes because, people like to get together, they like to talk shop, they like to share information, they like to pitch their services, we do a meetup. Meetup is a situation where basically we pick a designated area. We show up between 5:30 and 8, and everybody's able to talk shop. If you're a club member, you're more than welcome to come. The good thing is the people who are there are also going to be club members, and because they're club members, conversation tends to be real high level, and you tend to get some great intel out of it. We always start at 5:30. We always go to 8, and it's always on the third Tuesday of the month. Now you say, Peter, well, why would you do it on Tuesday instead of Wednesday? Because you tend to do things on Wednesday for consistency, or Saturdays. Why are you doing it on Wednesday? Excuse me. Why are you doing the meetups on a Tuesday? We do it on a Tuesday because Tuesday's a dead night. We go to different bars, we go to different restaurants. We try to alternate in terms of the location because club members are all over South Florida. So we go as far south as Coral Gables, and we go as far north, thus far, is Fort Lauderdale, although we are looking to potentially do one in Boca Raton. I don't know if we're going to get in West Palm Beach. Maybe, maybe not. We'll have to see. But basically, every month we're going to do one of these meetups. It'll be on the third Tuesday of the month. It'll go from 5:30 to 8. Why are we doing it on Tuesday? Because this is a dead time. This is an opportunity. We can all just show up. We don't have to reserve a room. We show up at a bar. We show up at a restaurant, and people are able to talk shop. There's no set agenda. It's more so just networking, pitch your services. Nobody's going to sell you anything, but yet we will make sure you're introduced to all other club members, and maybe you hit it off, maybe you don't. It's up for you. So our next one is going to be next week. It'll be the 16th of September. Why? Because that's the third Tuesday of the month. We're doing it over in the Upper East Side, and then finally the last meetup of the summer buying season. It's going to be up in Hollywood, Hallandale area, so we can tap into that Aventura market. We tap into Sunny House Beach market. Tap into people maybe coming possibly from as far north as Fort Lauderdale. But as a club member, don't worry about where the location is. You're always invited. There's no cost. When you get to the place, that is a cash bar, so you'll have to pay for your food. You have to pay for your drinks. Typically, there's happy hour discounts. And I will tell you, these meetups, people tend to hang out longer and longer and longer. What I'm finding is, while they're supposed to be 5:30 to 8, a lot of times we don't finish up till 10 o'clock or so, simply because nobody wants to leave. Everybody's enjoying themselves. So let's continue on. This is our seminars. We do private seminars. This is for founding members. If you are somebody who needs a lot of, you want access to me all the time, this is a founding member status you might want to consider. One of the things as a founding member is we give you access to these private lunches. We did about 3 or 4 during the winter. We're going to be bringing them back again. Our next one should be in October. That's what we're shooting for. We'll have to see how it sort of plays out. But basically, it's an opportunity for 6 to 8 people to get together and bring in a keynote speaker. That person discusses a variety of different topics, and you get access. We've had everybody from chief building engineers talking about how the condos actually work on the back end to developers who are actually putting up product throughout South Florida right now. So that's the type of access to watch for. We will send notices out if you are interested in any of the upcoming ones. Now let's continue on. We're getting to our agenda here, finally. We've reached our agenda. I'm going to hit on about 14 points or so. It's about 12:20. I will start to gain momentum. We will cover a lot. I'm going to hit on all these different categories. I'm going to be referring to numbers. But as you can see, we got the introduction, which we covered. We got the preferred service providers. The next one on the topic is going to be our tours. So what we used to do going back to December of 2013, let me just grab a little sip of my coffee. Going back to December of 2013, when we were coming out of the Great Recession in South Florida, we started doing bus tours. These are pre-construction condo tours. We would take people around on a bus. We'd point out stuff. We'd give them information. We teach them about the marketplace. It was a great way for them to get a perspective as to what was going on. Well, we've been doing walking tours since then. The pandemic sort of created some issues. You're supposed to keep your distance, yada, yada, yada. About 2 years ago, we brought back our walking tours. And now we're bringing back our bus tours. These tours are going to be called condo correction tours. We're going to go through a market. We will give you a list of all the condos that exist in that particular market. We'll tell you all of the essentials. Where is it located? How many units does it have? When was it built? We'll tell you what it's currently trading at today. We'll tell you what it used to trade at. And then we'll give you some ratios so you can understand these buildings. We are big proponents that if you are going to buy a condo, you don't go look at a unit until you understand which buildings you like. There are so many condos out there, greater downtown Miami, for instance, 200 condo projects. Good luck finding a unit if you're just bouncing around. And then once you actually find a unit, you get a price you like, you get the condo declaration, then you look at it and you say, I don't like this, I can't do it. I want to do it, I can't do it. I like the unit, I don't like the association. So we preach, you find buildings you like, those buildings that are comfortable with you. Then you go ahead and you drill down and you find a unit. So what we do on our tours is we teach you how to assess buildings. Ultimately, one day, I love to rate condo associations based on the financial feasibility of the associations, how they're operating. That's what I'm driving towards. But in the meantime, we can teach you how to rate buildings, and then based on buildings and your understanding of them reading or reaching all of your requirements, then you're able to go ahead and really kind of take advantage of it. So that's what our tours are. So right now we are doing tours every Saturday, 3 Saturdays of every month. We will be doing walking tours. On the first Saturday of every month, we're going to be doing bus tours. If you are a club member, you're going to get a discount on the walking tours. The retail is $65 with the club member discount. You'll be paying $50. On the bus tours, they're $130. It's an air-conditioned bus. I have to rent the bus. We drive around. We do a variety of different things. We make a pit stop at probably going to be at a pre-sale office. There'll be a little spiel, if you will. There'll be food. There'll be drink. There'll be restrooms. And we'll continue on. And you're going to get one of these lists. I'll give you analysis. I'll help you understand it. I'll answer questions afterwards. But if you're a club member, the bus tour will be $100 versus the retail price of $130. So, I'd encourage you to maybe come out and take one of these tours. A lot of people who are focused on a marketplace, they take the tours. Some of them take all the tours. And when they take all the tours, they really feel as if they get a great sense. Not going to sell you anything. We're going to teach you. We're going to educate you. If you buy something, fair enough. You don't buy something, it's not going to make a difference. So my role is to try to educate you and help you understand this marketplace. So you can find all of the tour schedule. You can get it at miamicondo.club, or you can go to miamicondoclub.eventbrite.com, miamicondoclub.eventbrite.com, and you will, or I'll put it in the show notes so you can check that out. So let's continue on. Podcast. What we're finding is increasingly people are telling me that we're producing too much content, and because of so much content, they can't go through it. It's overwhelming. So what we started doing is transitioning over, especially as we get for the winter. So we'll be doing 3 podcasts. We're doing 2 of the 3 right now. The third will be coming shortly. And a lot of information that you're probably going to want will be encapsulated in these podcasts. That is the goal. So we do a Miami Condo Mondays. That's every Monday at 4 o'clock. It's a live podcast as well, where you can simply go to miamicondo.club. You'll see it if you're a club member, or you can go ahead and check it out. But live broadcast. And then there'll be a recorded version, which will have a paywall behind it. So that's Mondays. On Fridays, I do something called the Buy, Sell, Hold Miami. This is a podcast with an agent over at Compass. So this guy tends to be more optimistic. I'm more on the pessimistic side. And we go back and forth talking about what's going on in the marketplace. I should tell you, Miami Condo Mondays, that's what Jenny Wirt does. She is my business partner, has been my business partner from way back in the day when we first got Condo Vultures going back in 2000, if you can believe that. So Miami Condo Mondays, we're gonna really dissect some of the reports that I've done over the course of the last week. It'll be like it'll be pegged to Miami Condo Market Intelligence Report, which comes out every Sunday. And on Fridays, I'll be having a conversation with somebody who's, let's say, on the opposite side, and we'll be going back and forth on different things related, top 5 stories going on in the condo market and the real estate market. And then on Wednesdays, I'm bringing my Peter Zalewski show. What it's going to be is I'm going to do one-on-one interviews with a whole variety of different people. All of the issues will pertain to the condo market, the real estate market, the economy. We'll be doing everything from chief building engineer to financing to suing developers and stuff like that. I'll bring interesting people on. We'll have great conversations. You'll learn a lot. And again, these are all efforts to try to provide you with content and information that you don't necessarily have to sit there and read, but more so you can listen to, you can watch, you can do whatever the case may be. So those are the 3 podcasts. Those will be regulars. Now, that being said, let's go ahead and get into our key financial indicators.